Hey, Rick, what did you eat last night?
Kate, I ate pizza, and, I talked about the pizza I eat on this episode so many times. I'm not even going to tell you about the pizza, but I'm going to tell you about what my process is going to get the pizza. So, whatever, I order my favorite pizza. We know what it has on it: jalapenos, mushroom, onion, extra cheese, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So, I go to pick it up, because I call it in. I go to pick it up. It's the store is off a main road, so I make a left off of the main road. And then the store is there on the left, and then right across from it are just like 5 or 6 spaces. And every time I go pick up my pizza, I just back in, I turn my car off, and I sit there because there's always this moment where I'm staring at my pizza place, and then literally right next to the pizza place is a CrossFit. There's always this moment where I'm like, Rick, you're going to make a decision here. You're going to either go into the pizza place, or you could possibly do something else. And I can't tell you how often, with wild abandon, without even thinking about it, that thought comes through my head. I'm like, oh, well, here comes the pizza. And out the door I am.
Yeah, I get the symbolism. Yeah.
It's tough times.
It's also untrue that in that moment, it would be realistic to go to CrossFit. That's also not true. But it's like when
I'd have to pick up the pizza first.
Exactly. It's like when those hordes of runners ran by us having brunch outside when you were here.
Yes. Damn runners. Them and their healthy fitness habit ruining my brunch. How about you? What did you eat?
I had a grilled salad.
Nice. Oh, a grilled salad. Do I hear you broke out your grill?
I broke out the grill. Yes, I've been really working on my grilled salad recipe, and I have to say, this was the best one ever. It was so great. So I grilled the romaine, I grilled the tomato, I grilled some jalapeno, I grilled corn, scallions, and chicken that I season. So those are all brine and season. So those are all things that are grilled. And then it all gets chopped up, and then into that I add basil, blue cheese, sunflower seeds, avocado, and I made a mustardy balsamic vinaigrette this time.
Good Lord.
It is unbelievably good.
That just sounds so tasty.
It really is. It's my favorite thing. I could eat it every single day. It's so tasty.
Wow, who knew you'd be grilling salads?
Amazing. Know. Hello and welcome to another episode of You Won't Believe What I Ate Last Night. I am Kate DeVore.
And I am Rick Fiore.
And this is our ongoing conversation about food, health, weight management, and our endeavor to be and stay healthy in a really tasty world.
With love, kindness, and compassion towards ourselves and others.
Today we are talking about what we ate in Paris.
Paris.
That's right, Paris. The reason we were in Paris is that we were going to France for a really special trip that we're going to have at least one episode to share with you about early next season. So you're going to find out a lot more about what we were doing in France next year, so stay tuned.
And the reason we're sort of giving you a little teaser about this now is you might notice during this episode that we don't have our usual sound quality and our usual energy. And the reason is we were recording on site in a place that we didn't want to disturb other people.
And it was kind of late at night, and we had had a long day that might have included some drinking.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So you might hear us sounding a little different than we usually sound in our recording.
It's all the recording quality. That's all it's about.
It's France, people. Apparently, you sound weird when you record in France.
They don't like you to record stuff. Yeah.
No, because they're French. So because of this, also, we had some challenges with our technology that might or might not have been related to sobriety. We're not going to say. Might have been France. And we're going to leave some of those little behind-the-scenes moments in for your listening enjoyment. We also encourage you to play a drinking game every time I say the word lardon or Rick says spectacular.
And here's the big news, you guys. We have something that we're really excited about that we want to share with you.
So Rick and I went on this trip together, and it finally happened in Paris. Rick and I.
Yeah, we finally had the best cheese plate of our lives. It happened.
It was the best cheese plate, you guys. It was the best cheese plate of our lives, and we know you're excited to share that with us. So enjoy spending some time in Paris with us.
Hey, Kate, what did you eat this morning?
I had a tartine.
Stop calling me names and tell our listeners what you had to eat this morning.
I'm pretty sure that a tartine in France is a toast. Like we have avocado toast. I'm pretty sure we stole that from them. So I had this gorgeous toast of toast with, it said it was going to come with like avocado and bacon and egg. I was like, great. And I was thinking of what that would look like. You know, I was picturing it the way we would have it, which would be like slabs of bacon and an egg and whatever. Well, it's France, so it was different. And so there was this tiny schmear.
It was very French.
It was very French. So the whole time we've been in France, Rick and I have been walking around assessing what is very French and what isn't. Especially me. I'm like, that's very French. That's very French. It's so French. It is mostly people like in scarves with nice shoes smoking. Like they're very French.
And the occasional beret.
Yeah, and they just look really good. Like they just look so good. And the not French is people that look like us. Not the French people.
Sneakers, jeans, hole in the back of your jeans. Awesome.
Jeez. Okay. So anyway, so we're having brunch. I guess they've inherited the word brunch from us, and so there it was. And so it was a piece of bread, and it had this really light avocado schmear, and then like a hard-boiled egg. It was a schmear and a hard-boiled egg all chopped up really small, and little tiny bits of bacon all chopped up super, super, super small, you guys, minced like we would never have it, and no mayonnaise or anything binding it. It was all loose and falling off. And then the thing that was crazy is that the toast had like raisins and walnuts in it. I think there was this little sweetness, so when you bit into it, you're like, there's something sweet. Which I would never have thought, yeah, give me nut and raisin bread with my avocado, bacon, and eggs. But it was so good. And then the best part was they had these little microgreens of basil. And so you would get this tiny little head of basil with it. Wasn't that the best? Brilliant. Oh, my God, it was so good. Rick had a bite without bacon. It was so good. So that was my entree. What about you, baby?
I had this really delightful dish. It was a small rectangular dish, not very deep. At the base of it was some type of banana puree, something mixed in with banana. Probably wasn't yogurt, maybe milk, something like that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that,
there were... like a pudding, almost. Like a light banana pudding. It was interesting.
There's like 5 rows of beautifully laid out granola, a row of granola.
Vertical rows. Beautiful.
Granola, raspberries, pomegranate seeds, chia seeds, which were mixed with something in which I couldn't quite figure out, and then and bananas, and then another row of granola. It was so spectacular, super light, and it just had that really power punch that you love, that gets you going in the morning. It was really brilliant.
Yeah, the chia seeds seem to have been made into clusters of some kind, some way.
There was something binding them together.
I didn't taste them, but from what I could see, they were clusters.
It was a little bit of heaven.
So it was beautiful. And then I also had a lovely espresso and a fresh squeezed orange juice, which was terrific.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, and you had some kind of tea.
What did I have? I had the black tea, I think.
Tea. Some kind of tea. It was awesome. It was great.
Then we must go to Camembert.
Yeah. We're so good at this. Hey, Rick, what did you eat this evening?
Oh, my gosh. So we were frantically looking for food. We were so hungry. We were tired. All we wanted to do was sit down, and we were in Montmartre, this really beautiful, hip, arty neighborhood.
And there was like 1,000 places. You'd think it would be the easiest thing in the world to find somewhere to go. And yet,
we couldn't find a place that appealed to us. So finally, like two-year-olds exhausted, we just finally picked a place and sat down.
We're like, we're going here. We can't take it. We're going right here. We've been walking around for 45 minutes.
So we ordered Camembert.
Oh my God, it was a roasted wheel of Camembert. So it was like the size that you get like when you get one of those pre-wrapped in light wooden boxes, wheels of real Camembert.
Yeah.
But you know how at home those are gross.
Yes.
Like those are pretty much disgusting. Even if you bake them, they're not that great. No offense to anyone that does that, because
it's what we do. It's all we have.
We do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but however, this was so freaking good. We're like, oh my God, even the camembert is a million times better.
They literally took the wood plastic cover off and put it underneath. They took the paper off the top and then warmed it in that wood plastic container we see in the grocery store all the time.
With a black top. It was roasted. It had a black sooty top, so it wasn't just heated. It was actually broiled.
And it was still in the paper. And they just brought it out, served it with some really tasty bread.
Nothing caught on fire. It was amazing. It was the best camembert I've ever had.
It really was. We love you, France.
Once again, oh my God, the cheese in France. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
So, hey, Kate, what did you eat tonight for dinner?
Not tonight. Ask me again, because
what do you want me to say?
It's the salad, right?
Yep. What is happening?
Oh. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Just ask me again. Sorry.
Hey, Kate, what did you eat tonight?
I had a salad, which I use the term loosely because one tends to think of a salad as largely vegetal, and yet this was mostly potatoes with a lot of bacon and some egg, and then a little bit of dressed lettuce underneath. It was delicious. I was sitting out on Montmartre on the road watching people go by. It was fantastic. I was drinking mediocre beverages while that happened.
They were mediocre, but the salad
They
was
were
good.
mediocre because of where we were, so we will take it. What did you have?
I had pretty much the same thing. A lot of potatoes with a little bit of lettuce, but then I had this really great chèvre on top. These 3 big wheels of chèvre. And Kate and I were talking about this at home. You order a salad with chèvre, and you get like 1 wheel, and it's hardly enough to go around the salad, but you got 3 big wheels, and it was so darn tasty, and it was warm.
Yeah.
Oh, spectacular.
They were delicious because when we saw the price, we're like, wow, these are rip-off salads. And then when I got it, I was like, oh, it's not actually at all like that. Food and, the price of preparation.
And the warm potatoes on a salad, it really worked well.
Oh, so good. Wait, is that recording over that?
I don't think so.
There's a big red light on it, so.
It happened on the first one. Well, this is going well.
Wow, I can't get it to stop.
There you go. Did you know?
Hey, Rick, did you know that the FDA allows an average of 30 or more insect fragments and 1 or more rodent hairs per 100 grams of peanut butter?
Really? Is that supposed to... Am I supposed to feel good about that?
No!
It's terrible.
No, that's 3.5 ounces. That's not very much. What I want to know is, how do they count them?
Totally, right?
What counts as a fragment, So, yeah, we've been eating a lot of bugs. Yet another reason for me not to have peanut butter in the house.
There you go. Any reason not to keep peanut butter in the house, I'm all for. Hey,
Rick, if someone were visiting the Musée d'Orsay and they were seeing some beautiful art, my first question to you is, would you recommend that, just real quick?
I'm going to give that a big thumbs up, yes.
Yeah, you're a fan?
I'm a fan of the art.
And particularly of the Musée d'Orsay?
Yes, it's one of my favorite museums ever that I've been to.
Why?
Mainly because I love the actual design of the building. It's everything about the whole building is so done. It used to be a train station, and they converted it into this beautiful museum. And not only is the art beautiful, but the actual building itself is beautiful. I feel so wonderful when I'm there.
Yeah, it's extraordinary, and there's a lot of impressionism there. And are you a fan?
I am a fan of the Impressionists.
So, when someone is there for 2 to 4 hours, as one does in a museum, and one needs a break, where might one go?
One might go to the cafe at the back of the museum.
Which one? Because there were multiple cafes. Yeah. Which is the good one? Do we know?
No, it's the biggest one.
Oh, it's the biggest one.
It's the one that basically has... It's the most
It has
beautiful
gold chandeliers. If you walk in and it has gold chandeliers, you're in the right one.
And it has a clock. right?
Giant clock at the end.
Yes.
The other one might have too, though, so we don't know.
Kate took this really great picture of me backlit by the clock.
It'll be on the website.
Yeah. And we just ordered wine, yeah? We didn't
I
order
had
anything?
coffee.
Coffee. No
we ordered
food,
coffee, water, and wine.
Coffee, water, and wine.
My holy trinity of how I live.
I've always known you were a holy woman.
It was the middle of the day, and so I needed all three of those things. I wasn't quite done with my coffee from the morning, and I was sick, so I definitely needed water, and it was the middle of a museum trip, and it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It was calling.
So it was ready for wine, and so, yeah, coffee, water, wine. Oh, no!
We sat there, and we were both just so grounded. We were so connected. We just did not want to move. We were so complete because not only are you in Paris, you're around art, you're in actually a beautifully designed restaurant, and you're sipping really good alcohol.
And coffee. It was just the most beautiful sort of cafe. I love... So when my mom and I travel, we go to museums, and we usually have either a water or a coffee or a glass of wine or something in the cafe in the middle of our trip, because museums are physically hard, and so we just do. And so this was my favorite museum cafe I've ever been to, because of the ambiance and because of the quality of what we had. And I could be there still. 3 days hence, drinking that coffee, wine, and water, and just be so happy.
I felt like I was attached to the chair, and I was never going to move.
Yeah, we had to get up. How long would you say we were there? 45 minutes, an hour?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And this is I think it's my 4th trip to Paris and my 4th trip to that museum, and this is the first time that I've actually been able to sit in the cafe, so it made me really happy.
You're welcome. Really? Hey, Rick, what did you eat this afternoon?
A goat cheese salad.
Really? How was it? That sounds delicious. I'm guessing there'd be lettuce, tomato, goat cheese, maybe some crouton, something like that, right?
Yes, it was awful, Kate. It was awful because I think all of that stuff was on it. But do you know what else came with it?
Tell me.
The hugest, largest amounts of tiny, chopped up, morselized ham.
Okay, you guys. Okay, so it looked like lardons. So if you know what lardons are, it's rectangular long strips of what should be bacon or pork belly. It's got meat and fat holding it together, and it's a deep red. This was a weird pink, and I'm like, what are those pink lardons? And then I tasted one, and they were ham. They weren't even lardons, you guys. They were ham, shaped like lardons. It was ham masquerading as bacon.
And I literally think there's more ham than lettuce. I really was wondering, what did they use to put all of this meat on there? Did they use a bucket?
You guys, I'm not kidding. There was a cup of ham lardons on his salad, and then it was some lettuce, and everything else was beautiful. The lettuce was pretty, the endive was pretty, the tomatoes were pretty. It was all gorgeous, but there was this cup of weird pink lardons dumped on top. And you would think that on the menu, something that was such a prominent ingredient would at least have been listed, because they listed everything else on the salad, but they left out the meat, and it was the more meat than anything else. Oh my God. I had a mediocre croque madame, in case anyone is wondering.
Did you know?
Hey Rick, did you know that potato chips are America's favorite snack food, and they're devoured at a rate of about 1.2 billion pounds a year?
I guess I could have guessed they were one of America's favorite foods, but not at the rate which they're consumed.
Apparently they're the number one. And get this, in the U.S., a pound of potato chips costs 200 times more than a pound of potatoes.
Come on. See, that's enough.
So make your own chips, people.
So on this trip, Kate and I have learned yet another thing about each other. And that is that we both generally feel like when we order a cheese plate in particularly the United States, we are getting ripped off.
And in fact, I rarely order them. I serve them, and I like them at people's houses, but I rarely order them in restaurants because you tend to get a pretty small quality of what usually, at least the places I've been, isn't that great cheese.
Agreed. The cheese is not very good in small bits. You tend to get a little bit more accoutrement, but I think that's like between the jams and the breads and the mustards and the honeys.
Yeah.
And maybe some olives or nuts, and I think that's actually to make up for the lack of quality in cheese and the quantity.
Yeah. So the reason this has come up is because we just had the best cheese plate we've ever had in our lives.
And we're not lying to you. The best.
Absolutely amazing. There's going to be a picture up on the website. You'll have to look at it and drool and be jealous because it was absolutely amazing.
We went to this really wonderful place in Paris called Fromagerie Denard.
Oh, great. Good job.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I'm shaking my head no, like no, he doesn't have it. But no, I think that's right.
It is. I just looked it up.
Oh, very good.
And it's a place that Kate had found. And it's this really tiny shop that had, when we walked in, probably about 5 tables.
Yeah, like with fluorescent lights, it looks like a little tiny grocery store. It's got a whole, it smells like funky cheese, like it smells a little gross.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the whole left-hand side of the wall is all the cheeses in the world in their cases with their temperature control and stuff. And then on the right side of the wall is wines.
And then they have a tiny little register, and then behind that, like a tiny counter where they do everything in the world.
Yeah, so we're like, all right, whatever. And oh my God!
It was really spectacular.
So we had 6 cheeses and 3 meats, and we got the one where they picked. So we let them do the choosing for us.
Yeah.
So I will say, Rick obviously if you follow this, you know Rick doesn't eat meat, like charcuterie meat, and I don't usually love that kind of stuff very much. I like some of it to some extent, but it's not my favorite. And all 3 of these were absolutely amazing. One of them was some version of salami, one of them was a cured pork, and one of them, I don't know, a sopressata or something. I don't know. It was pretty fatty, but I really loved all of them, and they had a very different flavor, and I think it's because they maybe don't have the nitrates and toxins that we put in that stuff at home, because they were extraordinarily good.
And from someone who doesn't eat meat, it's one of those rare times that I'm looking at meat, and I'm watching a friend eat meat, thinking, wow, I wish I ate meat, because that looks really, really good.
Right? And I know, you rarely do you think that except for bacon.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, which this is the same category of meat, so it makes sense. Just like smoky and delicious.
Yeah. I think that the big thing we learned is that what made their cheeses so spectacular is that they use real milk. Like, it's not pasteurized.
It's raw milk, because only one of the 6, apparently, can we get back in the U.S., and that's because of the laws. We can't import French cheese because it isn't pasteurized.
Yeah, and that's just what gave all of it such a wonderful quality. It was all really, really rich. One of my favorite was, it was the basil one.
Yeah, it was bright green.
Bright green with little specks of seeds in it, like little specks of brown, and which we don't know what they were.
Yeah.
And it just tasted like heavenly basil. That was really one of my favorites.
It was gorgeous, and it was creamy. So there were 6 cheeses, and it was really well balanced in terms of flavors and textures.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the basil one, which was probably the most pungent.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a beautiful triple cream, which is the one we can get at home, called Délice de Bourgogne, which I like. And I said, this tastes like one I know, called that. And he was like, yes, that is it. And you can get it.
We got this really amazing goat cheese, which had like a layer on the outside and then a layer on the inside. I can't even explain to it, but gosh, it's not like any other goat cheese I had.
No, it had the texture more of a brie. It was softer. It wasn't chalky. And it didn't have the sharpness that I sometimes don't like in goat cheese. It had tang. It's tangy.
You're not a fan of goat cheese, generally.
If it's too sharp. I don't like it chalky, and I don't like it too tangy. So this one was a little bit tangy and much smoother. Mm-hmm. And it had a beautiful soft rind, the way a nice triple cream would.
And what was the one we had where the rind had all the pepper in it?
Oh, that was my favorite. It had sheep's milk in it, so it was sheep's milk and cow's milk, and it was called something de l'Aiglot, I remember him saying. But we can't get it, so it doesn't really matter. But the sheep's milk reminded me of manchego. So it had that wonderful buttery flavor of good manchego, but it was creamy, and then it was also had a cow's milk in there. That one was my favorite, because I've never had anything like it, and Really good manchego is one of my favorites because of that buttery quality in it.
And the rind.
Yes, the rind I didn't like because it was bitter.
I love the rind.
Yeah. It was a little ashy and peppery and super bitter. So.
We both tried it at the same time, and my face sort of lit up, and Kate was like, huh.
Yeah, I don't think I care for it.
And then she gave me all of the pieces with the bulk of the rind on it.
That's right.
Really
he got the end. He got the corner pieces from then on. That was the other thing that was amazing. Like at home, we would, for this price, you would get one little piece of each of these cheeses, and we got like 4. We were stuffed. Have you ever been stuffed from a cheese plate?
Not I, Kate DeVore.
No, never. Well, me, because I ate most of the meat, so that really doesn't count. And the bread was amazing. It was a beautiful French baguette. It was crispy and chewy, a little bit malted, a little bit sweet. It was a really great balance.
And we had this really spectacular bottle of champagne.
Oh, it was real champagne, you guys, and so reasonable compared to what we would have paid for it. And then there was a very subtle blue.
Oh, yeah,
it was
blue
really,
cheese. Yeah,
really creamy and really subtle and delicious and mild.
And in the beginning, the blue cheese was something that I wasn't really grooving on because all the others had so much flavor, and so they sort of jumped off the plate at you.
Mm-hmm.
And the blue cheese was sort of hanging back there a little bit, not being too exciting. But by the end, of course, I'm like, oh my God, the blue cheese is also amazing.
Oh my Lord. And then we had another one. The last one I think was called Comte, I believe, Comte, which I think we have in the States, so I don't understand that exactly, but I don't know that I've ever had it. But again, it's a firmer cheese, also really buttery and rich, but has also a sharpness to it. But a lot of layers. Most of these cheeses had like a lot going on, like one thing and then another thing and then another thing.
And it's such a small store. Like I was saying in the beginning, there were like maybe 5 tables there. But as the night went on, you'd see the couple who were operating the place would go in the back, and then they'd pull out sort of another folding table and put it up with 2 more chairs. And I'm like, oh, and another one came out. So they sort of just kept adding these tables as they went along because you needed reservations. And luckily, we walked in early enough, just right before all the people came, and we didn't have a reservation, but we were able to get a seat.
And then we watched other people get turned away because they didn't have a reservation. And then another couple come in, and we couldn't tell whether they did or didn't, but they got a table. So we're not exactly sure what was going on. We were wondering if the fact that I spoke French to them, I at least tried to speak French, made them want to give us a table.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas the people who came in speaking English were the ones that didn't get one.
and just raving about all of their reviews on TripAdvisor.
Oh my God, which is how we found it too, was TripAdvisor. So we're not hating on TripAdvisor.
We just flew under the radar.
And it was served on this beautiful slate circular platter, and then our plates were these planks of wood.
It was just really wonderful. Hey, Kate, what were those clinking noises in that last segment?
Well, if I recall correctly, we might have been enjoying some whiskey under the ivy that was crawling across the ceiling of our living room and staying up way too late.
Oh, awesome. Great. I couldn't remember. Thanks.
Pretty sure.
So thank you so much for listening. If you liked this episode, we're going to have another episode of When We Were in Paris. We went on this really
And even if you didn't like this episode, we're still having it, and you should still listen to it because it will be even better.
It's going to be way better.
Way better, you guys.
And there's so much more drinking on that episode, too. So there you go. So we had the pleasure of going on this really special barge trip. This beautiful barge that maybe has 12 people, and it sails where, Kate?
In Bourgogne.
That's a fancy accent. That's very French, Kate.
Very French, Rick. Yes, in Burgundy, France. And oh my God, you guys, it was amazing. Amazing.
We're gonna be coming almost live again from the Hotel Barge Luciole, and we think you'll love it.
Mm-hmm. So, subscribe to our podcast on, where can we subscribe? iTunes.
Facebook.
YouTube. Well, we can subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play.
Pretty much anywhere you can get a podcast, you can find us. And then you can also check out our webpage, youwon'tbelievewhatIate.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And review us. Let us know what you think. And remember, if you have any comments or thoughts, you can just send them to us via our email at youwon'tbelievewhatIate@gmail.com.
And tell us what you ate in Paris.
Please do.